Hi everyone and welcome to the latest video. I'm going to be working on this writing bureau, and this is part of a trash to treasure challenge that I'm doing with a load of other YouTubers who restore and refinish furniture. We've done one of these before, one of these collaborations slash challenges. We all really enjoyed it. You seem to really enjoy it. So we're doing another one, a bit more about that and who's taking part in that later. But this bureau is in a bit of a sorry state. It's spent the last 20 years on a farm, in an outbuilding or barn, and it's a bit unloved. It's filthy. There's some terrible issues with the finish, some repairs, some broken bits. So we'll go around it in a second and show you everything that's wrong with this piece. But as always, sit back, relax, enjoy, and thanks for watching. Obviously you can see the state of this. It's absolutely filthy. It's just got years and years of dust and grime on it. It feels a bit damp actually, but so we're going to give this a good clean before we start. That's the main thing, so we can have a look at what needs to be done. You can see there the finish is all worn and sort of blown. No hardware. This was in the drawer, so it gives the game away. All the hinges are broken and bent, so that's why the lid's not on there, because it's totally bent. This one's missing, so we'll need to replace these. The drop down stays, again they're missing hardware to pull them out. All the felt on the top is just disintegrated. This one, it is in there. I can assure you it's in there. It's stuck in. So I'm guessing the stop is missing off that, so we need to look at that. The beading round the drawers is missing in areas and hanging off in others. The hardware that's on here, these little pulls, that's missing from there, and it's missing from the other drawer, which I'll show you in a second. The legs are pulled apart, and as you can see, that's loose and that's loose, so we need to sort them out. And then you can see the state of the finish on these legs and on the skirt. The inside's filthy, so that's going to need a clean as well. The finish on the top is just all gone. I'm hoping that's recoverable. I'm hoping the wood grain underneath's okay, the veneer. The inside isn't too bad. The blotter, the leather blotter, is in okay condition. I'm sure I'll be able to save that. And this is why the bottom drawer wasn't in. It's all broken at the back. But while I'm looking at the drawer, I don't know whether you can see this. You see the dovetails, how fine they are, and this score line. This gives me the indication that these dovetails have been hand cut. So the likelihood this bureau is a fair age. Hopefully I can find some sort of indication as to the date of it as I'm working on it, but that gives you a good indication that this is quite an old piece of furniture, because handmade furniture doesn't exist much anymore. So this is what we've got to work with. Hopefully I can get this to look beautiful again, and we'll just crack on. I think the first thing to do is clean this up, because I'm getting filthy just looking at it. This isn't ideal, the legs just fell off as I was cleaning it. And obviously it's, yeah, that's not ideal. So right, let's wedge that in for the time being. This is minging. Ugh. I'd usually take this out as my next part of the process by taking the back off and then do any repairs, but because this has fallen off, it's just a bit precarious working on it, so I'm going to do the leg repairs first, I think. Yeah, I'll do that now. Right, I don't know why these legs, I mean they've obviously been banged, these legs, to come off. But as you can see, there's some nails that are nailed in that way, and that way, or that way and that way, whichever. There's a hole in the end, and this is a screw. Now that screw is underneath this side section. So the base has been assembled first, the legs have been screwed on, and then all the rest of it has been put onto the top of the base. So I can't get to the head of that screw. So what I'm going to have to do is use glue and clamping pressure, take these nails out. Once that's dried up, I can then reinforce it with some nails again, because there's no way I can get to that. And rather than cutting it off, I'll use it as a guide to make sure this sits right. So there's generally a way around everything. Right. Right, I'll just leave that for a couple of minutes, just let it tax up, wipe it off, and then we can clamp that. Right, so these two legs are now repaired. I had to take this one off, clean it all up the same as I did that one. So I'll just leave that to dry. Right, while I've got that drying, the leg repair, I'm just going to glue this up. Unfortunately it's a bit torn up, but it will glue back okay. What I forgot to show you before when I fixed these legs is these glue blocks had come off, and I wasn't 100% sure where they'd come from, but this is exactly where they've come from. So that'll reinforce the leg as well to the side and the bottom. So I'll clean these up, I just need to add some glue and I'll stick them back on. These are the back of the handle, obviously, but I have been asked a question about these little round metal discs before. Some people saying I can't take the handles off because there's no screw at the back, and all these are, which might sound really obvious, but I'm just answering those that have asked. They're just covers, they're just bolt covers, so you just get your pliers or something wide enough, just pull them out. They've just got little spikes on and they just stick into the wood, and behind that you've got your bolt and your washer, or your nut if you will, that holds on the handle. So that's all they are. Apologies if that seems very obvious, but some people have asked. Okay, so obviously as you can see, that's missing there, that's all damaged, that's missing, this beading, sorry I'm talking about this beading. So I have got some replacement for this, but what I'll try and do is take it off rather than replace everything. I'll just try and sort of work it so some drawers will have the original and some drawers will have the replacement. Sometimes it's nailed on this, but I don't think this is. It just seems to be glued. And I was hoping, because it's fallen off in places, that it'd just be easy to come off. So I'll try heating it. Right, that's helping. Okay, right, you don't want to watch me do this constantly, so 3 drawers to do. I'll get back to you when I've done. Right, I've managed to get all off. Most of it came off in decent lengths. I'll use what I can. That's the plan, but it is really brittle, so if it starts breaking I might just replace it all, but if not I'll try and clean that up and put it back on after. What are you after? What do you want? What do you want? Oh, you're very cheeky. Another cork, okay. Ready, go. Ready. Sit down. Steady. Go. Okay, bye-bye. Oh, got it. Got it.
Really mid. Really mid.
Right, I'm going to start taking the finish off. This is a burl veneer and it's been patched quite a few times, and there's a couple of areas where there's a bit sort of missing. I'm going to have to be very careful scraping because I don't want to pull any more of the veneer off. The other side with the leather on can be a bit tricky because when you're scraping you can sometimes catch the leather, which you can sort of sort out after anyway, but ideally you want to try and keep from scraping the leather. So I tend to use a blade, just a brand new blade, just to get in close, and just use it like a card scraper, just to get the edges. And then right, the legs on this are all dry now, so it's stood on its feet again. Let's get these broken hinges off. Okay. Right, next step is to take this out. And this is usually fixed on at the bottom or the sides, but it's actually it's loose. So I'm going to take the back off and then pull it out of the back. That's it. Doesn't want to come out. Yeah. There's a nail here. 2 nails. There it is. If I go halfway, break the nail. Same again. There we go. These glue blocks had fallen off from somewhere when I was moving it around. They just fell out and I wasn't 100% sure where they'd come from. So I checked underneath, it wasn't that, and I've just realised where they've come from. These sliding drop down supports. So that one's not in because it's here. The little pegs come out of that. But look, obviously if you're pushing that in from outside, it's just going to go all the way in. So that glue block sits there to stop it pushing all the way back. It's roughly there. So I just need to move this and make sure it's flush at the front. Just do the same on that side and we're done. There doesn't actually feel like there's much finish on the top, and the way it's coloured, that feels like it's got finish. That doesn't. It looks like water's been on this. You can see the water marks and obviously these ring marks. So I'll see well, there's a bit on it. Hopefully this isn't into the wood, but we'll see. Yeah, it is. Yeah, it's obviously very thin. That finish, because the watermarks have actually stained the wood. So I suspect I'm going to have to give this a coat of oxalic acid as well, but I was planning on doing that anyway. These moulded areas can be a little bit tricky to scrape. I have got some shaped scrapers to get in, but I'm just going to use some acetone just to soften this up. The reason I'm putting shop towel over it is because this stuff evaporates really quickly. Too quick for it to work, so let's give that a go. It's just 4-0 steel wool. Right, that's pretty much got rid of all the finish. And you're probably asking, well, why don't you use that on the entire piece? One, it absolutely stinks, and two, it doesn't need it really because it's so brittle. This finish is just coming off easy with a scraper, and obviously that's going to save me some money, and obviously it's not using chemicals either. So just the bits that I need to, I'll use the acetone and I'll scrape the rest. Yeah, it's good. Pretty much get all the finish off this now. I need to get the finish off the front of these. They don't have any finish inside, but I need to take them out anyway. This one, the stop block, is missing. This one, it's still in there, so we need to take that out to get that out. See it there? I just need to hopefully pull that out. There we go. Right, this is my very least favourite part of finishing a bureau. These are a nightmare. I might try and take the back off, see if that's easier. Yeah, I'll be glad when this bit's finished. That's a bit easier, I can get my hand in and go like that now. Finally. Oh, your face. You're a daft dog. Right, the finish is off everything now. Pretty much, there's probably little bits of it here and there. I am going to give this a coat of oxalic acid as well as the drawers. So before I do that, I just want to give it a sand over. So I'm going to do that now with 240 grit just to get rid of any bits of the old finish. Make sure everything's sort of the same down to bare wood, then I can give it the oxalic acid. I just want to show you this, I'm really proud of myself. I want to work on these legs and it's easier if they're all just stuck up in the air, but because of the nature of this, it won't stand on its end. So I've just been thinking how I can sort that out. So I've got my little chair. Little temporary stand for a writing bureau. I've actually found a manufacturer's mark stamped onto the bottom of one of the drawer dividers. I can't really read it because it's a bit faded, but I think it says it's A, T and B, which is that bit. And there's a couple of bits of other writing, so I'm just going to have a closer look, see if I can find out anything more about this piece. I noticed this little bit of veneer was lifting up. It's just this tiny section. So I just need to put a bit of glue in that. Right, we're all ready for oxalic acid now. That took some time. But it'll save me time further down the line. This is what I'm going to be using. This is Gilboy's oxalic acid granules, and I'll show you how to use them now. So you just need some hot water, not boiling, hot. You can measure these out, but I don't generally, just put a scoop in. maybe that much. If you want to get some of these, I'll leave a discount link in the description of this video and all the other Gilboys products that I use. Give it a stir till it all dissolves, and away we go. A lot of people think that oxalic acid is a wood it bleaches the wood and makes it lighter. It doesn't. It just brings out the natural colour of the wood, so it helps any wood that's been sun damaged, and it also gets rid of watermarks and some other marks, but it gives the wood back its original sort of more saturated colour. And if you haven't watched my last video where I did bleach wood, if it was as easy as just putting oxalic acid on, I would have done, because that last project I did where I bleached a mahogany unit down to light oak was a nightmare, and it took me ages. Another thing with this is that you can't apply this direct to a finished piece, as in you've got to remove the old finish and get it down to the bare wood. Well, you can apply it, it just won't do anything. So you need to apply this to bare wood for it to do anything. Look at that grain, that is so beautiful. Right, just need to sort out this felt. It's been glued on. Let's clean the rest of that up with a bit of sanding. The burl veneer on the drop down part was in reasonable condition considering the state of it earlier. It was all stuck down properly, but there was quite a few cracks in the veneer, and to resolve that, all I'm going to do is use some stainable wood filler. I'm just going to water that down very, very slightly and apply it to the complete piece. It'll look terrible at first, but trust me, in the end, it'll all look fine. Right, that looks brilliant. I've been really fortunate with this. There's not been a massive amount of repairs needed. Well, there's been a few, but the veneer is pretty sound. A couple of places where it was coming away. Obviously, you've just seen me fill the burl walnut, I think it's burl walnut veneer on the front of the drop down, and then I've got a couple of these tiny little flakes that have come off. There's one there, and then there's just a couple, well, 3 small ones there. Now, rather than putting in new pieces of veneer, because these are so small, it'd be more obvious because I'd have to cut bigger pieces out of the veneer to put a new piece in. So I'm just going to use a bit of wood filler on them. I'm only doing this just to reduce the amount of cleanup. That actually dries a little bit lighter and it's stainable as well, so should be fairly invisible. I might just need to put a couple little grains through it just to mask it a bit. Right, let's leave them to dry. There was quite a few more different repairs than these, so This wood filler, when it dries, it's almost the same colour. So it's really difficult to see. So all I've done is just put a little bits of tape where I've done the repairs, just so when it's dry I don't miss any. What I have noticed though is that ring mark hasn't come out with the oxalic acid. So I'm going to try a little bit of acetone on that to see if that works. Hopefully it does. It's reduced it, I think. Might just be being wishful thinking that. You can see it there coming out, I think. Still there. I think it's working, so I'll just keep persevering. I've just wiped this back with a bit of mineral spirit, white spirit, so it doesn't look too, I mean, there's a slight bit there, so once the stain's on and the finish is on, you'll do well to notice that. I mentioned earlier that the bureau was rocking, it wasn't sitting level, and this is why. These metal sliders on the bottom are on 3, but they're missing from this one. So rather than trying to find another metal slider, I'm going to take these off and replace them with nylon sliders, and that way it won't be scratching any hard floors. I haven't sanded this to its final finish yet because there's still a couple little things I need to do. This has got a few dings and dents and deep scratches in the feet. Pretty much all of the feet, but mainly at the front. So I'm just going to try and lift the grain a bit and sand that. So a bit of water. This is a little dint as well. Rather than just trying to sand it out and risk sanding through the veneer, I'll just try and lift that a little bit. It's there. You probably can't see it on camera, but it's there. It's lifted that right up. Right, it's time to add the beading back on. I was going to use some of the old beading and some new beading that I've got and just sort of patch in areas, but when I was trying to strip the finish off the old beading, it just kept breaking. It's really brittle, so I'm just going to use new. And this is the stuff I've got. It's not pine, it is hardwood, and it does stain quite nice, so that's what I'm going to use. Just need to glue all that on now. Right, finally, all finished with the beading. I'll just leave that to dry. It's dark outside now, so I'm assuming it's time for me to go in. I've had enough for the day, so I'll leave this to dry overnight and see where we're at tomorrow. Come on, let's go. Come on, let's go. That's stuck on really well, that. Obviously it's a really contrasty at the minute because it's brand new, but once it's stained it'll look great. Right, just take that off. Just before we carry on with this restoration, I did mention earlier this is part of a collaboration / challenge with a group of other YouTube restorers and refinishers. We've done a couple of these before and they've gone down really well with the audience, so we thought we'd do another one. This one is a trash to treasure, so try and get a piece of furniture that's in a really sorry state of repair and make it beautiful again. Some great channels are participating in this challenge. I'll leave a link to the playlist of all those other videos at the end of this video, and I'll also leave a link in the description of this video. So once you've watched this, head over to see those guys. Some great work to be done there, and hopefully you will enjoy those as well, and you may find some new restorers that you weren't aware of. So thanks for watching this. Hopefully you will enjoy all the other videos, and let's get on with the work. Here she is. Yeah. Right, come on. What to do? I did like the colour. Once I put the white spirit on to wipe away the dust, I did quite like the original colour. But I've had my heart set on doing a piece in this particular stain colour for quite a while. Some of you are not going to like it, some of you are going to love it. I personally love it, and I've put all the graft into this, so I'm going to stick with it. I'm going to stick with my original plan. I think it's going to look really nice when the top coat's on. It's something I've not done before, a complete piece in this colour. And the colour I'm going to use is this, and it's rosewood. Now, don't freak out when I put this on. Wow, look at that. Love it. If you're not sure, all I'd ask is you leave your decision until the final reveal, because I think this is going to look fantastic once it's got the top coat on. But you'll let me know in the comments, I've no doubt. Okay, let's carry on. I'm in a dilemma now. I really love this colour, and I haven't done this purposely, but I've just done down to the skirt and the legs, and I'm thinking I might do a two-tone stain on this and stain the legs slightly and the skirt a slightly different colour, but I'm wrestling with the idea, so I'm not sure. I'll have a think. Do you know what? I've made my decision. I'm just going to go for it. I just want to do something a little bit different rather than a piece that's just all brown again. So like I say, this is for me, it's not for a customer. A lot of the stuff I do is for customers, so I just have to do what they want me to do. I just want to have a go at doing this, and hopefully it'll look nice, and I guess we'll find out in the final reveal. The stain I'm going to use is called Weng or Wenge. Probably not as dark as I thought that, but let's put it on and let's have a look. Yeah, it's not massively different, but once it goes on this red wood, it's not as dark as I thought, but quite like it. I've had an absolute nightmare. I wasn't filming at the time, but I've slid, this was on the bench and I've slid it to try and turn it over and it's pulled this off. So luckily it's not snapped off, so I'm going to have to glue that down and clamp it now. It's not a massive deal, but it's just a silly mistake. I was manhandling it and I should have been a bit more careful, and I've pulled. It's not just the veneer, it's actually the substrate from underneath, which is probably better than the veneer, but I can do a quick repair on that. But yeah, take your time. Right, fingers crossed. The insert, I'm going to stain this the same colour as I've stained the legs. It's a very, very mild contrast, but it'll just make this pop out a bit when you pull the drop down. Right, done. Right, let's see how terrible this is. That's not too bad. Sand that, put a little bit of stain on. Good as new. Just let that dry now. Okay, it's time for the top coat, and I'm going to be using my favourite Gilboy's hard wax oil. If you want to give this stuff a go to get a really beautiful finish, then I've got a discount link in the description of this video, so check that out. But let's crack on. Wow, look at that. That's so nice. The drawers aren't in terrible shape, we've just got a few scratches here and there, so I'm just going to use some of this walnut restorer finish just to freshen them up. These little stoppers, one of them was missing, but they go in there and stop the supports pulling all the way out. One of them was missing, so I just need to make another one. I forgot to hit record when I was sanding this down, so I've just used the belt sander just to put a chamfer on the end, so I just need to cut it to size now. There we go. Next thing I need to do with these supports is add a new piece of felt. That's gone a bit tacky now, so that's what you want. You don't want it too wet to soak through the felt. Good as new. Right, I need to polish up the hardware, but before I do, I had a couple of those missing, and I need some sort of little pulls for the drop down supports in the middle drawer. So I've got this box of old hardware, stuff I've either bought or taken off old pieces. Come on. That looks spot on. Right, I only need 2 of them, so that'll do for them. Right, I'm going to keep looking. Right, I've managed to find them, which are brilliant. They're all the same. I had quite a few of them actually, so I need 3 of them. And I found some of the bolt covers. Those are the sliders off the feet. If I need to use them, I will. I have found 2 bolt covers. They're slightly different, and they're different than the original, but they'll probably do it a push. Right, so the hardware's not in the best of condition. I can get rid of that. Don't need that. I've tested this with a magnet, and it's non-magnetic, so I'm presuming it's brass. It is very thin, which is going to take some time. This leather skiver or skiver. Thanks Simon at Gilboys for telling me what that is called. I normally call it a blotter, but just to freshen this up, it's not in terrible condition. I'm going to use some of the Gilboys beeswax polish, and this is in the antique gold. Again, there is a link to a discount in the description of this video. Just leave that to set. Just need to put this back on. We're coming towards the end of the video now, so I'd like to say a big thanks if you've lasted this long. I know it's been another long video, but this was a lot of work and I just wanted to make sure that I showed as much as I could of the restoration process. I hope you've enjoyed it, and I'd like to say a huge thanks to those that support my channel continuously. I really appreciate it and it blows me away. If you want to support the channel, then I will leave all the links in the description, or you can simply leave a super thank. If you want to see more content like this, then please consider subscribing. It's absolutely free, and if you could hit the thumbs up button, it really helps out the channel, so thank you. I've enjoyed this. It's great being part of this challenge and all these other great YouTube refinishes. So once you've watched this, please head over to see those videos and you'll be amazed at some of the results there as well. As always, thanks for watching, and we will see you in the next one.